Maseches Bava Kama Daf Tes Vav Amud Aleph. We're in the bottom of the page. We're in the third line. Toshma Ma Bein Tam Lemuad. The third wide line. Here at the bottom of the page. Ma Bein Tam Lemuad. We already said all the Ilu Nishmas credentials, and we can now summarize the second topic we spoke about yesterday, which will also be today's topic, for some of the time, and that is a question. Chatzi nezek mamain or knas? That's how you say it in proper Oxbridge English, yeah? Chatzi nezek mamain or knas. What does that mean? The fact that a show who's a first and second time offender, when we say that he pays only half, does that mean he pays half because he should have paid everything? Because really, oxen are halachically defined as bad boys. They are not becheskas shmira. We don't expect them to be well guarded themselves. We have to guard them. You should have guarded your shore 100%. You should have paid 100%, mister. But because it's a first or second time offense, and it's still called strange behavior, it's not as normal as walking and eating, so then you only pay half the first and second time. But the definition is momoin. This is money you really owe. What does momoin mean? Money. Money you really owe? If one stole $100, why does he have to give $100? What do you mean why? Because he stole it. That's the money that he has to give. So really, you're paying the money, and you're only paying halfway. It's a reduction. Rachmana is merachem on you. That's way number one. Please have that in one box in your mind. Open that window in your computer in your mind. Comes, let's now open another screen. That is what? Knas. What does knas mean? Knas by definition means I pay for something, not something I didn't do. I pay an amount that is more than I owe, more than I actually had to pay as a warning, meaning really the shvoim are not supposed to gore. It's logical when the person says, I didn't expect it, this was crazy, and enachinami, well, he never gored in his life. Yeah, I owned this dog for, I don't know, a year. He's been such a cutie-putey. And all of a sudden he bit. I didn't really expect that he's going to bite. And then we buy that, we don't buy the story. We hold of that halacha. And we say, Enachinami, the shore is bechezkas shimu. What does the person pay? He was not supposed to guard him and expect that to happen and guard him to that point. So what does he pay? He pays, he should have given 0. He's paying 50 as a knas. The knas is, how to say, wag your finger, we go and we say, this is something that, don't do it again. It's not your fault, nobody's blaming you over here. This is not a blaming session. We are just telling you, don't do it again. In order to give you a warning sign for future, for the first or second time, we say this is a knas. You really didn't bother anybody when you parked in the Merkaz and nobody was there. Okay, I'm not endorsing what's going on in this city, but it's a warning sign. Don't do it again. Don't park there again. Next time it's going to disturb people. So you pay for something even though the amounts are not quit record. It's not for something you did, and that's knas. And this is a machlokas we have. This is a machlokas that we had between two Amiroim. We had the machlokas here of Yeshua and of Pope, right? Okay, so these are the two boxes we have in our minds. One is momoin. This is something that you're supposed to pay. You're only paying half price, reduction, sale, summer sale, all going on now. Or do we say no? We say it's a knas. Really, you should have paid 0. You're paying more than you had to, so to speak. The Torah forces you to pay more than you really should have paid because this was not expected. And that is called knas because it's not expected. Knas belongs to a big family. Knas has many cousins all over the world. Sounds like a mafioso. Yeah, the knas has what? Tell me other knasos. I'm talking too much. Give me names and addresses of other knasos in halacha. Excuse me? Very good. The rapist or seducer, they already paid the girl, let's say oinus, he paid the girl a lot of money already. Still, besides the actual compensation that he gave her, nezek, not nezek, but here it's called pagam. Pagam and tzal, wasar, and all the treatment that she needs, the shilu sheves, boshes, her last work, he has to pay her that. Besides that, he has to pay a fixed amount of chamishim kesef, right? Very good. A sheep and a bull, very nice. It's by a guy who stole. First of all, he has to pay double anyways. Besides the point, besides that, if this was sheep and he slaughtered it or sold it over, sold it further, of the sheep or the bull, the sheep he has to pay 4, the bull he has to pay 5, all very nice. Okay, so now what's the difference between Momen and Knas? Give me one difference which yesterday you knew and today also know, right? That is Moed B'Knas Potu. That's a major difference. Moed B'Knas. If the person came and he said, I did it, he admits that he did it, and nobody else, we had no other source of information to know that he's the culpable, he made a confession in front of Beis Din, or maybe even in front of the person alone, I think it's in Beis Din. And what did he say? I'm the one who really, my show gored yours, it was my fault. Yeah, it was my fault and my show gored yours. Then what? Does he have to pay the Chatzi Nezek or no? Depends. No, does he always have to pay half? Are you sure? If it's a Knas, he has to pay? No. If it's Knas, no. Yeah. If it's a Knas, he doesn't have to pay because Knas, a Moed B'Knas Potu, a person who admits that he's Chai B'Knas, the Torah sort of let go, and gives in on the Knas. There is Mevater on the Knas, Meichel the Knas, exempts him from the Knas. But if it's Momen, then there's no exemption. If I say, I really stole, I feel very bad for you that you stole, just give me back the money. As you said, it's a return. Give me back what you stole. So if the half price is something you're supposed to get back, we'll give it back. Momen, you're supposed to pay, even if you are the very brave confessor. Toshma. Third wide line. Already questions. Yay, let's go. Toshma. Let's start today's. Yay, Toshma, third line. Ma bein tam lemuad. We're going to see, in a few Mishnahs from now, I think 2 Mishnahs from now, Ma bein tam lemuad. The Mishnah lists the differences between tam and muad. And what does the Mishnah say? Shatam mishalim chetzi nezek migufoi. The tam pays only half. And how does it pay it? What's the mode of payment? Migufoi, from his own body. Meaning, if the tam gored a shore that's worth 1,000, how much does he have to pay the tam? 500. Let's ignore now the nevela. 500. Let's say the entire worth of that show is only 200. How much do you have to pay? 200. The goring shore, the one who gored, however much he is worth, that's the amount of money I'm supposed to pay migufoi. I'm not supposed to come and complement it and bring more money from other sources. The payment is migufoi. That's a din in tam. It's another kula, another leniency when it comes to tam. It's in the psukim, smasham the psukim, v'amesi eloi, v'chulei. Umuad, mishalem nezek sholem, min aliyah. On the other hand, muad is different in 2 other ways. Why? First of all, you pay the entire amount. Min aliyah. What's aliyah? From the best. You're supposed to pay from the best land, like all mezikin. You're supposed to pay from nezek sholem the entire 1,000. And how much you're supposed to pay? Not how much. How do you pay it? Not only from the body. I don't care how much your shore is worth. It's a shor muad. Shor muad. We're done with all this cutesy, warm and fuzzy kind of attitude. Shor is muad. It's the third time. It's the third time offense. Yesh gvul. And therefore you have to pay a whole amount. And if your shore is worth 200, you better get 800 from another source. Could be your best land, the aliyah, the least the better, or from any kind of metaltalin, right? Metaltalin are also okay. In any event, we only saw 2 differences on each side, right? How much do you pay half, and also the mode of payment from the goof or from general. Ve'im, Isa, we're now attacking, and he's going to be attacked now all the time. Man the Omer that says that this is moment is knas, Yeshua is an attack. Im Isa, if it's true that chetzi nezek tam is a knas, litni nami, the Mishnah should have also mentioned a third difference. This tam en mishal pi atzmoi. Muad mishalem el pi atzmoi, right? If it's true that it's knas, then there should be a third difference, which the Mishnah conveniently omits. Why? There's a third difference. A show tam Ezra Simkin said, a show muad Ezra Simkin said is momoin, and you pay full and you pay al pi atzmoi. Even if you made the confession yourself and the edim didn't come, this is simple money. The regular moment you pay upon your own word, and tam, you don't pay upon your own word. Tam, you don't pay by your confession because it's a knas. It's from the fact that the Mishnah didn't mention the difference about al pi atzmoi, not al pi atzmoi, mashma, that the chatzi nezek is not knas. Must be it's mamoin. That's why there's no difference, because both of them are mamoin, and both of them you have to pay, even if it's your own confession. Boom. So now it's a problem to Man Domer that says that it's knas. It sounds like it's not a knas. Otherwise, we should have said that this is moed b'knas potu, and we don't. And says the Gemara Tani v'shir. That's many times the answer. What's Tana V'Shir? Tana V'Shir means, no, Enochinami. The Tana knew very well, I'm right, says Rabbi Yeshua. And I know that this Moide, that Chetzin Ezeki is Knas. And it's true the Moide Knas Potu, but the Mishnah, Shir, ever been to a Tish? He had Shiraim, he left aside, he omitted the left aside some items of the list. For example, Al Pi Atzmoi. That's all. It's true, but the Mishnah doesn't mention it. Frag the Gemara, my shir dai shir. We had it recently, remember, of Chia and Ravoshia. My shir dai shir. The Mishnahs never, ever omit one item from a list. Yeah, they don't leave out one item of the list. Yeah. In other words, if you leave something, it should have been two. You don't leave one, I'm not sure why, you don't leave one behind, you leave two, you omit two. So my shir, the question is, what else, which other difference between Tom and Muad did we leave behind that we can afford to leave behind the difference of Al Pi Atzmoi? What is it? And says the Gemara, shir chatzi koifer. Oh, we left behind another difference called chatzi koifer. What does it mean chatzi koifer? Doesn't mean half a heretic. Chatzi koifer means we've met the concept of koifer a few times before, but now we're going to concentrate on it more, focus on it. Koifer means a show, muad, only muad, a show muad, meaning he gored 3 times and he killed people 3 times. That's his 3rd time, let's say. It's the 3rd time he kills a person that he should have been put to death already way before. Already with the 1st time, but he managed to run away. Look, Jeffrey was saying, I remember some time ago, or somehow he got off the hook, and he managed, now it's his 3rd time. So now what do you do? Besides the fact that, of course, he has to die, also, here, B'Shol Muad, the Bailim, the owner has to pay. He has to pay the family of the deceased, of the one who was killed, he has to pay them the money that the person is worth in the job market. We mentioned it yesterday about men and women equality, right? So now, what about Shotam? Does Shotam pay half a koifer? A Shotam that, let's say, gored 1st time and killed someone, you have to kill him, but does the Bailim pay half a koifer? You say no, and you're right. According to most opinions, we don't. Oh, so here's the difference. By Shol Muad, there is koifer. But Shotam, there's no koifer at all. 0. There's no koifer by him. And that's what we left behind. We could afford to leave out of the Mishnah to omit. Which one? The one of Moide B'Knas. Because we also left behind another difference between Tam and Muad, and that's koifer. Tam is no koifer. Muad has koifer. We basically omitted both, so that's good. To his company, as you say, to his company. Frag the Gemara, that could work, but Imshum Chatzi koifer, is that the difference you want to teach me? Lav shiurahu. That's not necessarily a good thing to leave behind. Why? Homani, because we could say that Mishnah follows Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Domatam shalim chatzi koifer. Rabbi Yossi Aglili says that a tam does pay half a koifer, which means tam pays koifer. Of course, it's half, because tam always pays half of everything. He gets automatic 50%. You know, look in senior citizen card, you know, he has the young citizen card. He always gets 50% off. But the Lamaister basically believes that both Tam and Muad, both of them, the Tam and the Muad, they pay koifer. So maybe the Mishnah is basically. And then you don't have another friend to be left behind together with Moed B'Knas. So really, we still are left with some kind of a question on Mando Omer Knas, but the Gemara goes on. It's not a very terrible question, because Lamaisa, we don't have to follow Rabbi Yossi Aglili. So the Gemara goes on to other questions now. More attacks on Mando Omer Knas. This is now artillery. Artillery, boom, 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 all the time on Mando Omer Knas. And you'll see who's going to win at the end. Toshma, let's turn the page, 15b. Yutes Vav Amud Beis B'Abikam. Hey, Mishorius Ploini. Says the Mishnah later on, I think it's a Mishnah, or maybe a Brisa, I saw it yesterday, and I think it's a Brisa. Hey, Mishorius Ploini. A person comes and he makes a confession, tears running down his cheeks, and he says, my show killed a person, which means according to Rabbi Yossi Aglili, he pays, betam. Oy shorish Ploini. My show gored the other guy's show. My dog bit his dog. Harei ze mishalem al pi atzmoi. He has to pay upon his own words. He does have to pay. Even though he made the confession, he still has to pay. Now, my love, betam, aren't we talking also in tam? And therefore, this is going to be a challenge on Mando Omer Knas. Because if this Mishnah or Brisa talks about tam, and you still say that he pays by his own words, that means it's not a knas. Had it been a knas, he would be potter by confession. And says, no, who said muad? He would tell me, yeah, the man domer knas would tell me, no. That Mishnah spoke about muad. Muad, as the rabbi was saying, muad is always for sure moment, no question. Muad, you gored 1,000 worth, you pay 1,000, mister. That's moment. So then, I don't care about your confessions. It's very moving. You can make a TV show out of it. But lamaisa, there's some moed b'knas potter. It's moed b'momen chayiv. Says the Gemara, aval tam. Wait a second. Aval tam mai hachinami de'emishalom al pi atzmoi. You want to tell me that had it been tam, right, then you would not pay al pi atzmoi. Then by your own word, by your own confession, you wouldn't have to pay because it's moed b'knas potter. Is that what you're telling me? I prepared a trap for you. So, if that's what you want to tell me, you're in trouble deep from the further part, from the next part of the Mishnah. Adatani Seifa, it says in the Seifa of the very same statement there, the second part of the same statement says, let's say a person came and confessed and he said, my shor killed someone's Eved. My shor killed the Eved of Pachachovsky, the Eved Knaini. Then he doesn't have to pay by his own words. What's the story with a slave being gored? Well, I mentioned to you before in the past, that an Eved is a special payment. Eved, it says Mufursh in the Torah, pay shloishim. Regardless to the worth and the value of the Eved, if one's show muad gored an Eved, knaini, he has to pay a set amount of shloishim. Shloshim, I'm not sure Shloshim how much. Shloshim, it's discussed later on. Lamaisa has to pay him a set amount. I don't know how much it's worth today. Shloshim, I think like dinarim. Yeah, and those Shloshim are paid regardless to the value of the Eved. This Eved could be worth 15 and you still pay 30. And that's one of the knossos. Shloshim shel Eved is one of the classical knossos. It's a knas. And now, what did the Brisa say? The Brisa said, you know when there is a knas in show. You know when there's a knas? By Eved. Because if my show Gordon Eved, I have to pay a knas, then I don't have to pay if I confessed, because it is a knas. But the question is it very, 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 yeah. Ihochi, says the Gemara, I'm repeating on purpose. Adetani seifa mishos avdu shaploini en mishalim alpi atzmoi. When you say, my show gored someone's Eved, and we say you don't have to pay by your own word, and that's a case which is a knas, frag the Gemara, a classical question. Look at the words, li floig velitni bedidei. Make a chiluk, you should differentiate close to home. Why are you looking for a faraway case? To find me a case of goring with knas, and that's Eved. Make a much simpler, closer to home difference. Liflug velitni, make the pilug, make the dividing in the case itself. And you should say BDA, Bamed Dvorim Amurim Bemuad. When is it true that he pays by his own word, whether he doesn't pay by his own words because it's Momo and Bemuad? Aval Betam, En Mishal Piatzmoy. Clearly, you should differentiate between muad and tam. You're looking for the box. In other words, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. There are two boxes here. The first box, we're looking for momoin. The second box, we look for knas. So say, you know when it's momoin, when it's shor muad. The shor muad, even though I confessed with big tears and I said, oh yes, I did it, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. Shor muad, money's money, you have to pay money. But then we're looking for another box. And that box has to be filled with what? With a knas case. So say, we scratch your heads. You know when we have a knas case? By shor who gored the Eved. Why? Why do you have to go look far to start talking about the show that gored the Eved? You have a closer to home case. Tam. And just say normal. Say, in Muad, it's Momen. In Tam, it's Knas. From the fact that we ignored what's right in front of our eyes and we're looking for something so far, must be the Tam also is Momen. That's why we couldn't put it in the Knas box for the very simple reason, no Knas box. Because it is what? It's really Momen. Again, an attack on Mandoma, Knas, boom, goring. Answers the Gemara, and then I have time for questions. Hula bemuad kamayri. This Mishnah, the title of that Mishnah is Muad. What does that mean? You say Don't go far and look for case of an Eved. Speak closer to home. Muad versus Tam. Says the Gemara, no, closer to home is Eved. You know why? Because the title of this Mishnah is Muad. When do we have two cases within Shor Muad? Yeah? In one of them we have Muad, Maman, one of them we have Muad, Knas. That's a sticky thing. We are now in Muad land. Within Muad, we found two cases. Both are close by. They're both close to home. Both are muad. One is muad who killed a person or money. The other one is a muad that killed one is muad who killed an eved, and then it's a knas. But tam happens to be not in that mishnah. That mishnah doesn't have the title called tam. That's all. It's that simple. Very, very cute. Not cute, I'm saying it's very, very cool. What do you call close? What do you call far? What do you call a similar case? In the Avamir, we thought a more similar case would be Tam, because Tam and Muad, they both gore people and not an Eved. And then Maskona said, no, we prefer to talk about Muad of a person or Shor versus Muad of Eved rather than to talk about Tam, which is more of a faraway case. I don't remember who was first, I have to admit, and now, good. Toshma, Kula. The line starts with Kula. Toshma. Another Bryce, and that will be the last one. Another attack on Man Omar Knas. Zaklal. This is the rule. This now we're coming to learn a rule, a general rule regarding Knossos. Very easy to understand. Whoever pays more than the actual damage, Alan, this is for you. Very simple. If you pay more that you actually damaged, then you don't pay upon your own word. This is a fancier way of saying, I did an ezek chas v'shalom to the girl, and I paid, there's an extra, all of a sudden, an extra penalty of 50. That's more than I damaged, right? I stole $100, I pay 200, that's penalty. All these cases of paying more than I damaged, I don't pay by my own word. If I made a confession on time, then I don't have to pay the extra. My love, but listen to the words. My love, what is this coming to tell me? Ha-pochos mimashi hizik meshalim. Mashma, that if I ever pay less than I damaged, then meshalim, then I do have to pay by my own word. Meaning, when do I pay less than I damaged, my friends? We all know, by tam. So far, it's the only case, right? If it's tam, and I gored a shore of 1,000, I pay 500, mashma from the brisa, that I do have to pay how much? Even by confession, meaning it's not knas. If I pay with my own confession, I still pay, that means it's money, not knas. It's moment, compensation, not penalty, right? I'm using your words. So that's again question number 3 on Mando Omer Knas. He comes and he answers no. Says the Gemara, no, your diuk is wrong. You're medayek from above the line into below the line. No, the answer is hakama shizik meshalim. The diuk should be like this. If you pay for more than what you did, the double the knas, for the rapist, for the ganev, for Avov Chamisha of the bull, all these things, what? Them you pay more, and by confession you don't. As opposed to what? As opposed to things that are not knas, where you pay for what you did. A regular ganev, regular mazik, gazlan, you did 1,000, you give back 1,000, then you don't pay by the word of your mouth. Aval pochois, but let's say you pay less. There are 3. Have in your mind now 3 different levels. Paying more for more than I did, paying for more than I actually did, paying more than the actual damage, right? And that we say, there, here confession patters you. Then we have the middle line, the 0, paying for what I did. And there's paying less than what I did, right? That's Keren Tam, right? The Gemara says, why are you telling me that the diuk is paying more than what I did is a knas, you don't pay by your confession, mashma, if you pay less, then it's momoin. Says Gemara, no, you should be midaik not from the top case to the below case, but to the middle case, to the 0, the balance case, and say, if it's knas and I pay more than what I did, it's knas, but if it's a 0, meaning I did 100 and I pay 100, it's an even case, then it's not knas, then I pay by my own words. Says the Gemara, wait a second. Poches mai hachinami deloy mishalim. Are you coming to tell me that if en chinami I pay for less than what I did, then I don't pay by my confession? In other words, you're insisting and saying that it's a knas and I don't pay by my own words? If so, if so, why don't you speak normal? Adetani, instead of writing Zehaklal Kol Mishalim Yosal Mashizik and Mishalim Pi Atzmoy, why are you writing such a misleading word that those who pay more than the Nezek, they are a knas. They don't pay by confession. But that's confusing, right? Because that sounds like if I pay for less, then it's not knas, and you tell me it's not true. Litni, the way it should be written, zaklal kol shen meshalim kamashizik demashma pochos mashma yoiser. Finished. Get me? In other words, yeah. The question is like this: why did the Mishnah tell me whoever pays more is considered a knas, which is misleading me to think that whoever pays less, who's paying less, Keren, is really considered as regular mamoin? You want to tell me no? You want to tell me no, below and above, both below and above the line, they're both knas. I pay what, extra 50? That's knas. I pay minus 50, like Bekeren Tam, it's also knas. The only ones who are not knas are the regular, even, the balance line, the regular one. But that's very misleading because the Mishnah didn't say that. The Mishnah specifically said whoever pays more than what he did, that's a knas. That denotes quite clearly that if I paid less than what I did, it's not knas, but mammon. Excuse me, it's already the third time that man doma knas is in trouble. The first two times he came out okay, but now comes the verdict, tiyuvta. Tiyuvta is not good news for Namora. Tiyuvta is like a red letter in the post. Tiyuvta is what? Question. What?
The knockout punch.
Oh, it's almost a knockout punch, right? That's what we think. Nachon. Tiyuvta, it's shver from a brisa. There seems to be a brisa Mishnah that seems to be against man doma knas. Trouble. Look at that now. All of a sudden the Gemara says, the hilchasa, what's halacha l'maisa? No, after the whole discussion of who's the halacha, the hilchasa, pal ganiska knoso. Wow. Get that? After three questions, the third one was a knockout, and we say halacha is like him. A yeshiva bacher proposes to a girl. A yeshiva bacher tells the girl, the third date, you're not for me, terrible, no way, I'm not looking for a girl like you. B'chlal. And then he bends down in his knee, will you marry me? You just a second ago, you're not meant for each other. And then he bending, will you marry me? What kind of thing? Proposing. Make up your mind. This is what's going on over here. On one hand, you just knocked him out, Yufta, and all of that, halacha is lakim. All of a sudden, halacha is lakim. What's going on over here? The Gemara asks the question, not me. Frag the Gemara, Yufta v'ilchasa? You just asked him the Yufta from a brisa, and you pass him lakim the halacha? What's going on over here? Says Baruch, in the case of the girl, also I got a text message that his father has a lot of money. He can give him a big dira in wherever, and as a story. Joking aside, it's a little bit what's going on over here. The Gemara has second thoughts. Says the Gemara yes. Why? What happened to the tiyufta? Time may have you tiyufta. What was the reason for the knockout? Let's go back and dig deeper into the whole tiyufta business. Why was he knocked out? Was it really a knockout? Mishum deloy ketani chmoy shehizik. Because the Mishnah didn't say that the only person who pays momoin, and even by confession, is chmoy shehizik, the one even, right? Yeah, and we said, why didn't you say before in the Mishnah that anybody who pays less, meaning Keren Tama, is also a knas? Must be it's not a knas. Says the Gemara, no, there's another reason. Loi psikale. Loi psikale means it's not exactly a clear-cut case. Meaning, we thought up until now that the only case below the even line, below the balance line, is who pays less than what he did. Keren. Keren has a cousin. Welcome. Keren has a cousin. You know why? There is another cousin of Keren, not a brother, but a cousin. There's another nezek which you also pay half of the damage, and that is called sroiros. We touched upon it once. We'll learn it in the future. And I'm before I explain what Soros are, I'll just continue in line. The Hilchas Agmir ala Demamoinahu. Halacha L'Shemisina says that even though Soros is half the amount, everybody agrees that it's called Mammon and not Knas. Mishum Hachi like Tani. Because of that, we didn't say it. You're attacking me for the wrong reason. Get the answer. Because you thought that the only reason we don't mention below zero is because there is Keren, and Keren is not mentioned as a Knas. Oh, it's not Knas. I say no, because Keren comes attached close to the hip with another nezek called Sroiros, and Sroiros is Mammon, and we're talking about a klal. We can't say a general klal, a general rule that everybody below the zero line is Knas, because regarding Sroiros that won't be true, because Sroiros is for sure Mammon, and they're stuck together. That's why we have to use the very diplomatic lashon. We're walking on eggshells, and we say, listen, one thing we know for sure: above the zero line, that's for sure Knas. Below the zero line, yesh vayesh. The tzoros are mamoin, and the Keren Tama is up for a question. Some say Knas and some say Mammon, and we opt for saying Knas. Now, what's tzoros? I'm hiding the secrets here. Tzoros means, and we mentioned it before. Good. It's a pebble or it's like gravel. So this means, let's say, an animal, a duck, whatever, no? A show. I was saying a gore instead of a show, yeah? A Gore was walking in Al Gore. Remember Al Gore? Yeah, Americans remember Al Gore? Yeah, good. So now let's say Al Gore, stop. A show is walking down the street, and now it is walking on gravel, on pebbles, and as it's stepping on the pebble shoots, boom, flies over to the side and breaks, someone's window shop. Let's say in Rosh Hashanah, there's also a question of Yochid. So even though it's a rather direct nezek, it's not even a grom, it's like a boom, boom. It's a very ping reaction, ping pong. Still, halacha Mishmisina, he only pays half. This is discussed extensively and expansively in Perek Sheni. It's a whole story about it. Tzoros is Chatzi Nezek. The Torah prescribed only Chatzi Nezek, and that's the only thing he has to pay. One would claim that's Knas, maybe. We say, no, Tzoros is not Knas, Tzoros is Momoin. And therefore, because Tzoros is Momoin and Tzoros is below the zero line like Keren, because of that, we could make a sweeping statement and say anything below zero is what is Knas, which I'd like to say, because I'm Mandomer Knas. But what can you do? Tzoros is together in the same classroom with who? With Keren. It's also for sure Mammon. So you can't say sweeping statement, everyone below zero is Knas. Not true. But really, if you only you siphon out Keren from the whole Mishpacha, Keren alone is Knas, according to this Mandomar. And this is the halacha. Halacha says that Chatzi Nezek is Knas, with all the ramifications. And now we're going to see all kinds of interesting ramifications. Okay? Seder. Says the Heilige Gemurah. Now we're going to speak about very interesting things. What happens nowadays, 2021? Tafshin Pei Aleph. Do we pay Knas or don't we pay Knas? Yeah, that's a question. To pay or not to pay? Let's say my Kelev, instead of to be or not to be. Let's have a dog, which I wouldn't have in my life over a dead body, but let's have a dog and the dog bit someone. And this is, Chatzi Nezek is Knas. And I'll say, I'm Potter. And the other person will say, no, you're not Potter, at least pay me half. The half you have to pay me. We go to the Beis Din, and the Beis Din say you have to pay. Is that so? Do I have to pay Chetzi Knas? Let's say someone stole from his friend. Nowadays, does he pay kefil or doesn't pay kefil? Yes or no? Let's see. Says the Gemara. What? Generally speaking, we don't have Din Knossos, but there are surprises. Generally speaking, no. Says the Gemara. V'hashta the Omart Pal Ganizke Knosso. Now that we have established that half an ezek is Knas, we better treat it as Knas, and therefore, Hai Kal B'dochel Imri. For the first time, we talk about dogs. A dog that ate Imri. Imri is a sheep. A dog ate a sheep. What?
Not Omri.
No, Imri, right. Imri, he ate Imri, and what do you mean he ate it? Not, he actually attacked it, and he was audacious enough. This dog is not a big one, not a German Shepherd. This dog is a regular middle-sized dog, and the sheep is bigger than him. And he was very courageous. He went to a coacher. The coacher told him, yes, you can do it, doggy. And now he was trained. Yeah, he knows how to behave and be courageous. And now he ate the big sheep, a sheep that's twice his size. What do you mean he ate it? He attacked it. He bit into it, devoured it, and then started eating it. A regular ketzele, like in a chanaya, ate a rooster bigger than the cat. Mishunehu. That is something strange. What's called strange? Keren. Keren has two characteristics to it. First of all, it's something out of line. It's not something that the animal would have done every day. It's against the nature of the animal, the regular everyday nature of the animal. That's mishuna. And a keren also is something that the animal has no benefit from, no physical pleasure from it, as opposed to eating. Yeah. Now this animal wants to eat. It has some physical benefit. He wants to eat the big one. But lemaisa, the first part of biting and killing it, yeah, when it goes for the jugular, at that point it's considered as mishuna. That's a chiddush. And therefore it's Keren. It's a told of Keren. Really, I saw in Shulchan Aruch and I saw in the Rishonim before, there are two stages. The point which you bit it, and it's strange for it to bite such a big animal. It's out of character and unexpected. This little doggy was amongst the big sheep, and all of a sudden he would start on a kid from Kita Chet, and he's only Kita Aleph. But piton, not normal. Therefore what? It's a Meshuna Dikazach. Therefore it's called Keren. Later on, when it starts eating beteavoin, then it's considered as shen. Different story. Then he's chayv into shen because he's just eating food because it's already dead. Everyone can enjoy the meal after it was already cooked. Yeah. So now, wait a second. Mishunu. Now, in other words, it's a what? It's a Keren. Keren is knas. I know Keren is knas. The Nafkimin, like Rav Simkin said, in order to be goyve knas, and I'm going to give you a different reason than what I said yesterday. The reason of yesterday, by the way, I don't know if it's true what I told you yesterday. I had some memory about it, but I'm not sure it's true. What the Shulchan Aruch says, the difference between knas and momon when it comes to dayanim is that knas is something, first of all, sorry, let's restart. Erase the past minute. I don't have time to do it in YouTube yet. We're saying basically like this. This is Beis Din in Bavel or Beis Din in Israel nowadays. Those Beit Dinim are not really musmach. In this week's parsha, we see the makor for smicha. In this week's parsha, Moshe was somech yodov. He put his hands on the head of Yoshua, gave him smicha from his holiness. Yeah, he bestowed his kedusha and his rabbanu, so to speak, on Yoshua. And that went on and on and on until the times of, I would say, the Mishnah. At some point, they lost the smicha. The level of smicha is already diminished, and we say those in chutz la'aretz are not as kosher as the dayanim in Eretz Yisrael, maybe very kosher, but not as musmochim, not like from Rav to a Talmid. And also in Eretz Yisrael nowadays, we lost the real smicha back then. Now, says the halacha, if something's called knas, such as a little doggy eating the big sheep, or any other knas for the matter, Keren is a knas, you only go the knas in Eretz Yisrael of the times of the Mishnah, where the dayanim are smuchim, real heavy-duty dayanim. But dayanim that are less than that are not really qualified to judge the case of knas. Why? Not because knas is harder, because nowadays the koch Beis Din is smaller, is weaker, and we only done cases that you really lost money, and or cases which are very common. So really there are exceptions to the rule of Simkin in both ways. Let's say if let's say someone stole money from me, so the case of theft, in order to get 100 for 100, of course Beis Din would judge. The extra 200, they wouldn't judge. Why? It's not something I lost. As I told you many times, it's not really my loss. It's an extra thing I'm supposed to get. So if I already won the case for 100, then I start and I say, hey, give me the other 100, a whole new case about the other 100. They would say no, because this is a case which Beis Din, which is not the super qualified Beis Din, wouldn't judge because it's not a loss caused to you. And also, let's say, other cases, I would like to read you the Shulchan Aruch Bli Neder on Sunday. Very, very interesting. The beginning of Choshen Mishpat. Let's say there's a case which is not so common. Let's say for a man to attack an animal is not so common, so they wouldn't judge it even if it's moment, as far as I remember. In other words, cases that are strange and rare and out of the box. Having said that, Rav Simkin, in Siman Beis, says the Shulchan Aruch, and this is a rule which you all know, even though Beis Din are not mechuyev to judge bidiuk like the knas of the Torah, like shloshim shelevet or chamishim of mefate. Beis Din, as we see later on in the Gemara, actually, Beis Din does have and should have the koyach to give their own kind of knas to the person who did the wrong thing. If a person exploits Beis Din or their weakness of today, and he starts stealing or whatever, doing things that are mazik, then we say you do have to pay the fine because we see this is a makom that we feel that the fine should be placed on you, even if it's not exactly the fine of the Torah, like our Bava Chamisha, but basically find their own kind of knas to force him to stop his terrible doings of crime. Give me 1 second. Yes, actually, can I ask quickly? I know there's a lot to ask about it.
No.
Ask quickly now.
One of the things I know with Solomon is that
yeah.
that you do now do not don't make it for such. It's based on Keren.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that's based on Keren, they don't.
There we are.
So
yeah.
yes, should I hear? Is it shen or is it Keren?
We say it's Keren. You just learned something more. Tell her, Solomon. Did you? Tell Dan Solomon you saw the source. This is what we're saying right now. If it's Keren as opposed to shen, we don't relate to it. Continues the Gemara. V'hanimili, that is true. Are you? You put? I didn't see. Okay. Says the Gemara, v'hanimili b'ravrevi. When is it considered crazy and out of line for the dog to eat the sheep and for the cat to eat the rooster? When ravrevi, big ravrevi noivdech v'sakifin, when the victim is bigger than the small predator, then we say that's crazy, that's out of line. I didn't expect it. I wouldn't say that my little pudele from North Tel Aviv is going to eat a whole sheep. Ava bezutri ucheyu. But if the victim is really smaller, that's normal. It's normal. Normal means what? It's shen. Then you have to pay what? Then you have to pay ucheyu. Then there's a question what has to be then if it's uchey. But in any event, we don't say it's knas. That's for sure not. Vitofas, let's say the person, as we said, he took the law into his hands and he said, even though I live in Bavel or I live in Israel 2021 Tafshin Pei Aleph, and I know for sure that he stole 100 shekel from me, I'll take another 100 shekel from him, I'll take the law into my hands. We don't take it out of his pocket of the one who took the law into his hands, as long as Beis Din assesses that this is that it was the right amount. Somebody stole 100 shekel from me in the middle of the night. He gave it back to me in Beis Din, but then they said, stop it, that's it. No, I'll take the other 100. Yeah, I'll take the law into my hands. And then he'll take me and say, he's taking the law into his hands. Then Beis Din will say, well, we don't deal with it because we don't have the koch of Beis Din. But if it happened by itself, so to speak, then we don't take the money back from the one who's really was wronged. Yeah?
That's not a chiddush. We know that from the chatifa that we learned in the past. If somebody takes it, because he thinks it's to him, Beis Din doesn't take it out of his hands.
No, it's a chiddush. No, we don't know it regarding knossos in Bavel. We learned it in other cases. This is in knas in Bavel.
I understand, but the whole idea
I don't think
of
this
somebody being a vigilante, taking the law into his own hands.
We don't always support it.
We don't reverse that. We see that.
But every time is different. I hear you, but every time is different. One would say maybe knossos is completely out of the picture. Maybe knossos is out of line. It's the whole new world. We say no. It's still considered as owed to him, just can't be taken in Beis Din. It is a bigger chiddush. Your other cases where it's really owed, but there's like a side reason. Now, listen to this. Let's say the guy lives in Bavel, and he says, hey, wait a second, says the Nizak, here in Bavel, you guys are not qualified to help me get the knas. I'm the victim. I'm the one who was wronged. In Bavel, you say, sorry, we're in Bavel. We can't deal with your case. I'll say, you know what? Give me time. We'll go to Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, in the times of the Mishnah, that Beis Din was qualified. I want to set a time which will both go to Eretz Yisrael. Both litigants, Kavin and Lei. Yes. We set an appointment with him for him with the Beis Din of Eretz Yisrael. Yeah? And then they can go to Eretz Yisrael later on and do the court case over there where the Yonim are qualified to deal with Knas. V'iloi ozil, let's say the Mazik surprisingly doesn't go, is dragging his feet. I'll only be able to take the train to Eretz Yisrael from Bavel or the airplane, after my 5th daughter wedding. Mishamtinan lei, we put him in Hayrem. We put him in Chayrem until he actually agrees to go to Eretz Yisrael. Says the Gemara now something very important. In any event, for sure, even though this is only Keren, and you may not have to pay for the animal's damage, we don't curse you. We put you in Cherem until you remove the nezek from your house. Let's say the person has a dog that's a bad dog that keeps biting the big sheep, or he bites people, or bites whoever. We actually put him in Cherem until he gets rid of his bad, damaging dog. Because paying is one thing, but a precaution to be careful and take away the nezek from your house, that you have to do anyways. How do we know that? Abnoson says, the Tanya, Abnoson Oimer, Minan Shaloi Gadol Odom Kelev Ra B'toch Beisoi. How do you know a person should not breed a bad dog in his house? Soon I'm going to stand in my soapbox. Wait. You can't have a shaky sulam, a ladder in your house. You have a ladder in your house which is shaky and dangerous, yeah, or a building that's not properly built, yeah, and we've just seen what happened in Florida last week. Talmud Loim, how do you know that's also? Talmud Loim, lotosim domim bebeisecho. Don't put blood in your house, which means you can't say, this is my house, this is my dog. No, Lamaisa, people are damaged. People come into your house, as much as we say, Torcha B'Rshus in my voice, but people do come to your house, and sometimes the dog attacks them. The dog even, listen to this, even the dog barks at them, and it scares them off, it's also osur. Now, this is not my personal issue. This is a Gemara in Shabbos Samech Gimel, I think, Amud Beis, in the top of the Amud Beis. It says there are stories, you behave so nicely, you get a story. There was once a woman, she was pregnant, and she was on her way to bake something, baking chug, and now came the Baal Habais, maybe where the tanner was. Then back then they used to have public ovens, yeah? So the owner had a bad dog that kept barking at her. It barked, not kept, it started barking at her, surprised her. And then the owner said, don't worry about it. His teeth are taken off, and also his claws are taken, his claws, he can't do anything. He does no harm. Yeah, so then she told him, "Shadli tivutach v'shakil achizra." Take your favor, your good words, and shove them put them on the bamboo places. Why? Kvanat Vlad. I can feel inside that I lost the baby. I was so scared from the barking that caused me to lose the baby. So now we say that a person that raises a kelev ra in his house, that's a bad thing. And it says a person who breeds a bad dog in his house sees no bracha. If you have a bad dog in your house, you're not going to have a blessing in the house. Now, some people, some Rishonim, erase the word ra. You get me? They say, if you have a dog in your house, you have no blessing without the word ra. Sorry. Whatever. You make an interpretation. Whatever. First of all, there's if it's scary or looks scary or barks like a Michiganer, so then that's already a problem. There's another problem with the dog, and that is if it's a male dog and you want to castrate it. As far as I know, there are no mehadrin solution. There are very iffy, dati light solutions to castrate a dog. If you sell it to a goy, ba'aroma, it's not so simple. The Rambam already talks about it. It's an old solution, but not a good one. And there's a lot of ashkafic reasons why it's not such a good thing. We can all stay good friends, even if you own dogs, you don't have to, yeah. In any event, it's not such a pashta thing. To have a dog is questionable. Ask your local Orthodox rabbi before you buy one. Some of them would say it's okay, I guess, whatever. In any event, where were we? On the soapbox. Continue the next Mishnah. What about breeding a lion? Yeah, a lion is better. Oh, so Rabbi Tachtel said not to have dogs. I'm buying a lion. How about that? The tiger, real thing. Yeah, in the backyard. What? Jaguar, leopard. Yeah.
Jaguar in the driveway.
Jaguar, which Jaguar? Yeah, black sleek one. Says the Mishnah, Chamisha Tamin v'Chamisha Mu'odin. This Mishnah is about to answer some of the questions asked here before. There are 5 types of tam and 5 types of muad. What does that mean? A behema ene mu'edes. Behema is not muad. Behema is tam, loy ligach. These are 5 different, not animals, but 5 different modes of behavior of the animal. Any regular behema, a show, an animal which is not naturally a predator. It's a home animal. Even an ox, even though oxen could go crazy, It's domesticated, regular behemoth, not a chaya in the field, which is a predator. It's a regular behemoth, the sheep, the cow, even the bull. It's not muad. It's not expected right from the beginning. Lo ligach, not to gore, lo ligof, to push, lo lishoch, to bite, lo lirbots, to crouch on purpose. Lahachis, on something. Lo livot, not to kick. So these 5 behaviors are each one completely different, but those bad behaviors, those vicious behaviors, are not expected from day one. L'kula alma. The question is how much it's not expected. It's not expected. However, now comes the second list: shen, the tooth, meaning animals eating. Whatever is suitable for it to eat, it's normal. Let's say my animal came and ate, tomatoes, corn, whatever the animal likes to eat. That's expected. If my animal ate someone's shoes, or my animal ate a huge animal way bigger than it, that's a different story. But Roy thinks that the animal is supposed to eat the wheat, the barley, the corn, or for a dog, there's some meat. Someone left meat outside and the dog came and ate it. Look after your dog, and he came into my kitchen and ate. Yeah. That's a good example for Shen, by the way. It's a great example. Wow. Baruch Hashem. I got a very, very good modern day example. You have fresh meat on your kitchen counter. You left the house open. It's let's say more chevre kind of place. It's normal to leave the doors open. Your dog came to my house uninvited, and don't blame me for not closing the door. It's normal to leave the door open in this community. Some people are like that. And your dog came to my place, so that's called bisdeacher. He came to my domain, right? And he ate the meat that's on the counter. That's mama shen. And then even today, Beis Din will say, pay for the full price, pay for the shen, right? Because it's normal for a dog to like meat, as far as I know. Now, haregel mu'edes lishbo b'derech hilucha. The foot of the animal is assumed, is supposed to, is muad, is normal to break as it's walking. Animals are not supposed to, do a zirut badrachim, road safety. They walk on over whatever they see, as long as it's small. The shora muad, that's the third one. Shora muad is muad. After 3 times, it became second nature by him to really gore, so that's normal by him. The show mazik bilshus and izak, that's number 4. What show mazik bilshus and izak? Remember, let's say the show mazik even tam, gored in the house or in the domain of the nizak. How much does he have to pay according to Rav Tarfon? Full. And note to your wife. The odom wad loilom, a persona, a person first time. Oh, I did it by mistake. I didn't know. My Yitzhar took the better of me, or I didn't realize what I was doing. Odom wad right from the start. Now comes the second part of the mission, which is not the 5 and 5. Here now we have a new list. As a Ev, now we come to real pests. As a Ev, wolf, the Ari, lion, the Adov, the bear, the Namer, the tiger. Bardalas is modern Hebrew is cheetah or leopard, but Bardalas back then is...
Dog was a vicious dog.
Yeah, it could be a vicious dog, like a dingo, could be, but mamish a wild dog. The Anochosh, a snake. They're always muad. Yeah, you raise a lion in your backyard. You have some nice mansion in Florida or California, and you're a young, cool guy, and the dog just doesn't do it for you anymore. You need to raise a lion to raise, not breed. Yeah, you raise a mishpacha. You have a lion and a snake and the whole thing, and these are your pets. And surprisingly, they went and they devoured someone. I didn't know my lion would do that. I didn't know my lionel would do such a thing. He's such a cute... No. Don't tell me stories. A lion is a natural predator, is always muad right from the start. And therefore, it's nezek shalom right from the start, and not even a question. However, listen to this. Rabbi Loza believes in animal nature. Loza says if they're b'nei tarbut, if they were trained from young age, they grew up by people, what? Domesticated, right? Very good, thank you. They're domesticated and from young age, and in muadin, then we believe that he was trained and he's okay. Then they're not muad. The only one you cannot train would always bite. Yeah, with his venom is a snake. He's impossible. He's from Chet Odom Arishain. But the other animals, the other predators, if you train them young, it's a machlokes whether they're muad or not muad. To be continued next week. Yishar Koach Godel. Shall I tell you a joke at the end of the year? One of the best cartoons I saw in my life, and we'll finish the year. No, let's continue. I saw once a cartoon. You see 2 couples, one visiting and one are the host. Yeah, one couple is the host, and each the guest, the husband and wife, on their heads, you see like 2 dogs or cats, mamash covering them with their paws and claws and driving them crazy. And then the host say, "Just let me know if they're bothering you." I cracked out laughing. This is very realistic. Have a great day. Rinse Hashem. Good Shabbos. Shabbos.